So the difference between infrared saunas and traditional saunas in terms of the cabin temperature is that traditional saunas require a lot hotter temperatures, 60, 70, 80 degrees. That's kind of where you want to sit, maybe 100 if you can tolerate it. Infrared saunas, produce infrared heat. The cabin temperatures isn't really a good measure of its effectiveness because it's more of the increase of your core temperatures. Typically, your cabin temperatures can be between 40, 55, maybe 60, maybe 65, depending on the location, to really contribute to that sweat. But the air temperature is not a good measure of the effectiveness of an infrared sauna. Infrared saunas are usually ready between 10 to 25 minutes of preheating time. Obviously, if you like it hotter, you need to preheat it longer. But essentially, the infrared heaters are ready and will give you that beneficial infrared light. Traditional saunas, on the other hand, usually require temperatures of 70, 80, 90, 100 degrees Celsius. As a consequence, the preheating times are usually a lot longer. In terms of frequency and duration of sauna use, you really want to make sure that you prioritize frequency over intensity. Studies have shown that essentially the more often, the more frequently you use an infrared sauna, the more health benefits you're going to get out of it, including an all-cause mortality risk. And the reason is quite simple. You train your cardiovascular system to be heat adaptive. There is no one ideal sauna session time available. It largely depends on your own body constitution, on your physiology. Even on a day-to-day basis, it can greatly vary in terms of how you feel. When you use a sauna, you want to get to a point where you start feeling slightly uncomfortable. Take 3 deep breaths, go out and rinse off. So what we've done around 8 or 9 years ago is that we developed a combination of a carbon and ceramic heater. So we took a carbon heater, made it a bit smaller, we added ceramic components into this heater for an increased heat conductivity. As a consequence, we now have a smaller heater that only goes up to shoulder height, has a nice 360-degree heat exposure, and we don't lose the wavelength of the 9.4 microns. And that is why this heater is superior. In addition, for our sanctuary range and the outdoor range, we then have 2 full spectrum heaters from the front, or 4 if it's a 5-person unit, to really complement our infrared therapy through full spectrum. So the difference between far infrared and full spectrum is that far infrared is part of the full infrared spectrum. The infrared spectrum is made up of near, middle and far infrared, who in turn make up the full spectrum of infrared. When someone says it's a full spectrum infrared sauna, it means it's an infrared sauna or a heater that essentially emits near, middle and far infrared combined, whereas when someone says it's far infrared only, it means it only emits far infrared heat of the far infrared spectrum, not actually having any middle or near infrared wavelength in there.